Hey, it's Gary here at the 4A studio. I made a load of videos, or I filmed a load of clips along with old Serge, with the old weather nonsense and all these planes, right? And then I thought to myself, you know, it was starting to wind me up, and that's not a place to be. Sorry, I was moving a bit there. That's not a place to be. And I watched John Levy and I watched Martin at Flat Earth, and you know, these things that are going on, if we let them wind us up instead of make us laugh, you know, which is quite easy, then they're winning again, right? So we've had for a week solid, actually more than a week now, the most incredible skies, which is the old planes coming over, but you know, not a great deal. And then this morning, after saying yesterday, well, I wonder if there's something going on, because, you know, it's all of a sudden it's come to a virtual halt, right? And then we get up today, and here we go. So I don't know if you can see here, we've got 1, 2, 3 here, right? And there's 2 more down there, right? All going exactly the same way. And look at the distance. That's almost like formation, right? You probably can't see this with this camera because it's not that great at picking the things up from a distance, right? So we've done a bit of research, done our old bit. You know, does this plane have any ID? Is it, you know, where is it going? And you sort of often find that perhaps 1 out of 5 just has no identification at all. So, you know. So with all the things that they've been telling us, I just wanted to point this out before it disappeared. We just had this clown come over here, right? And you can see over the top of the roof of the barn there where he's done a complete, literally, I don't know, 20 odd degree to meet up with this lot for down there. You can see all that, right? So I've sort of come to the conclusion that, you know, I wasted a lot of time on this. Not really wasted it, but you know, I've been putting stuff out there. We had some good friends of ours come for a few days that used to live here, had a holiday home here, and they're in their 80s, you know, they're not kids. And the lady, she said, you know, she could see all this shit, and she's like, you know, so good old mum tried to sort of school her a little bit on the old weather manipulation and what they've been doing for years and so on, and she wouldn't have it. You know, she sort of rolled her eyes a bit and so on. But, you know, how anybody can look at this and just go, this is normal at this stage in time, 2025. Well, of course, as we know, they're telling you what they're doing now, right? And if it all goes terribly wrong, oh, sorry about that. Well, of course, it's not going to go wrong because they know what they're doing. But anyway, it's been extremely hot. And I just wanted to make a little thing here because I'm not going to waste any more of my good energy on this. These clowns are all going to get theirs in the end. They all know what they're doing. When people say, oh, they don't know what they're doing, you know, they're not in on it. Of course they're in on it. A veteran pilot of 20 years wouldn't sort of be flying today going, what is coming out of our planes these days? It never used to, right? Anyway, so I just wanted to close this chapter of this nonsense once and for all, and not waste any more energy on it, because there's a lot more stuff. The old moon's still up there, look. Hey, the old fake moon's still up there. Anyway, just wanted to close the chapter on this and just say that I'm going to be doing a podcast with Mr. Mike Williams on the Pau Is Dead channel next week, actually, on the 20... well, I can't remember. Anyway, next Tuesday. 24th. So I'm going to be doing a talk with Mike. I emailed him, real nice guy, musician, and he's been doing a thing on the McCartneys for a long time. And of course, I have a little bit of a connection there, which I've been trying to get out for quite a long time now. And you know, it's not being disrespectful to them or to anybody involved, but basically how all these so-called celebs and all these other characters are all connected. And as Mark puts it, your dad ain't no plumber, right? And once you start looking, you can see. And it's quite funny because I brought up to our friend that was here, and I was explaining to him some of these things to do with the old symbolism and all that crap. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that, you know. And he went down to the studio, he looked at some of the things hanging on my wall, and he said, I didn't realise you'd done all this. And I said, well, we've known you 20 years, you never asked, did you? But, as if I'm talking out of my backside, obviously we don't have all the answers, but needless to say, when you've been involved in some of these things, and you try to explain to people that if you're not part of the gang, nothing's going to happen, It'll just sort of sit there and stagnate, So anyway, I said to him, well, what about if the old Beatles were a manufactured band? And he said, well, he could see various bands and acts being manufactured, but not the Beatles. Not possible, mate, not possible. And I said, well, if there are other bands out there that are very famous, and you think, no, because of course he likes the Beatles. So we're going to have a chat, me and Mike are going to have a chat about, various things, what I think the entertainment business was designed to do, the mainstream entertainment business. Anyway, it should be interesting, so I won't go into too much. But like I said, this is the end of the chapter here with this freaking mess that these bastards keep doing. I like I said, over a month, I filmed almost every day, from blue sky to this to pouring with rain. So, like we said, what goes up must come down. Another little interesting thing was I also did some research. Now, whether it's real, we were looking at what these ridiculous fighter jets cost to keep in the air and how much the actual pilot gets paid. The old pilot don't get paid an awful lot more than my next door neighbour who drives a van for a living. That's interesting as well, because you would think that the old pilots would turn around and go, oh, hold on a second, how much does it cost to keep, well, why am I getting any of this? Again, all a scam, all by design. But there we go, weekend coming up, we've got a little event here, which is nice, so hopefully it will stay like this. But that's the end of this chapter to do with this bullshit. So anybody, good luck, and just keep watching and understanding what they're up to and the possibilities of why they're doing it.